It's time once again for another episode of the Buckhead Business Show. Being brought to you by the Buckhead Business Association. Broadcasting live from the Pro Business Channel studios in Atlanta. And now, here's your host for today's episode.
All right, Rich Casanova here. Michael Moore is here usually each week. He's traveling out west this week, so a shout out to Michael Moore. We're excited to have you all here for our Buckhead Business Show. We do this every Tuesday morning. And a shout out to the Buckhead Business Association. You can find more about them at buckheadbusiness.org. We have this $1 billion Buckhead view. You guys liking this or what, right?
That's
yes
nice.
or yes, yeah. All right, so we're excited to have our guest here. We're going to jump right in. We have a kind of a full house here this morning. And we have Dennis, our producer engineer, Stephen Tyler, our videographer, and we have a guest here as well. But let's jump into our studio guest right now. And first of all, we want to welcome our other guest joining us here in just a moment. We have Joshua Still. Joshua, talk to us for just a second what you might be chatting about this morning.
What I'm going to chat about this morning is what I found out when I had some legal entanglements, through my divorce, and how in some cases you can be overcharged up to 30 to 40% on your legal bills and things like that.
So talk about reducing those and getting those in line.
Absolutely.
All right, and also in a minute we're going to be talking with Dosa Kim. Dosa, give us your little teaser before we jump into your interview here in a minute. What are you be chatting about?
So basically we have a software called Decrypted. We are now one of the most, I don't know how it happened, but we're up for the Interactive Innovation Awards at South by Southwest.
Oh, I've heard of those guys. Yeah, I saw you on your website that you guys got that, or you're up for the, yeah.
I don't know how
that's
that
pretty
happened,
exciting. Yeah,
it's pretty exciting.
We've been kicking around the idea of what do you think about this, of doing Southeast by Southeast?
Oh, we need to do that.
right.
Yeah, we need, we're all the winners
right
now.
Right, yeah. All right, done deal.
Awesome.
We just made that happen. That's how that works. All right, so but first in our studio we have joining us is Brandee Little, and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And you're going to be, let's go ahead and jump into your conversation. So you're an enthusiastic sales professional with a proven ability to identify and build relationships with current and potential clients, consistent in developing relations built on honesty, integrity, and value. Sounds good so far.
Thank you.
Right? Who wrote this for you? Yeah.
I wrote it myself. I did write this.
All right. So, and it's always about accessible and accountable.
Correct.
Right? Because it is about being able to kind of monitor, track things, right?
It is. And I always try and make sure that I am accessible to all of the customers that I have and work very closely with my merchants.
Okay. Before we get into merchants and your busy day, tell us a little of your backstory before you got into what you're doing right now.
I started out doing mainly administrative work, and then I got my first taste of outside sales working for a large processor in downtown Atlanta.
Right.
And just fell in love with it. I like the constant face-to-face contact
Right.
and building relationships with people, getting to know people, know more about their story and their lives. I've actually come to make some really good friends with the people that I work with.
So it's not a one and go kind of thing, right?
No,
Yeah.
not for me. No.
Well, some businesses just by the nature are transactional, right?
Right.
But we're talking about building a client. I heard somebody say years ago, it's not about closing the sale.
Right.
It's about opening the business.
Right.
It's a different mindset,
agree
right?
with that. Yes.
If you're opening a new client, opening a new account, that means it's going to be ongoing.
Correct.
All right. So jump now into Titan Payments. Tell us everything we need to know about what y'all do.
We're an up-and-coming business that started about 8 months ago.
Wow. So you're a startup.
Yeah, we are a
Nice.
startup based out of Houston, Georgia. So
Houston?
Yeah. So
Do you just make that up or what?
No.
I was like, where's that?
Yeah, where's Houston?
yeah. So I live in Gwinnett County, and
Okay,
I work
I've
out
heard-
of my
I've
home.
heard of Gwinnett.
Yes. Okay. So it's a little north of there.
right.
Based out of that area, I work the Gwinnett County area, anywhere north of Atlanta, and then downtown Atlanta areas as well. But we really strive to provide the best service possible. We like to guide our customers through their entire process of everything with their merchant services.
That can be overwhelming sometimes, right?
It can.
And also, how do people compare one widget to the other, right?
Right.
Right.
And it can be really difficult sometimes because, you get into the application process, which we work with all kinds of customers. new businesses that are starting out, which can be difficult in that part of the process. There's a lot of verification that goes through that. So that's a little bit more of a tedious process. We do established businesses, both small and large businesses, and we guide them through the application process, through the boarding process. I also make myself available for installations.
Oh, really?
Just to be there for it,
yeah.
you know. Not that I'm that technical of a person, but, you know, at least to be there so that I can try and offer assistance.
Nice.
And then after they board, they have my continuous support. So they have my cell phone number, know exactly how to get in touch with me, my email address. I'm always accessible to my customers.
Do they have your PIN for your ATM? Or
They do
That's
not.
where you draw the line. It has to be somewhere.
Right there. Yeah.
Even family relationships don't get that, right? Yeah.
Right.
How bad they need the cash.
Right, exactly. Yeah. For deposits only, right? Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So, so what's your USP, your unique selling proposition? So, as Titan Payments as a startup, you're kind of competing with the big dogs, right? So,
We are.
but you have that background, and you kind of know. So, what makes you unique? I guess.
I like to offer myself and my services, my customer service, my support, because I think that's a main issue when it comes to merchant services. And you work with the big companies. You don't have that one single person to always contact
Right.
when you need something.
Yeah. Have an 800 number in Australia or somewhere, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And with me, you have my cell phone number.
Nice.
Can I just jump
Sure,
in real
yeah,
fast? Just because, I have to say that is actually the proper way to actually handle customers.
Yeah, thank you.
Because it makes me so upset, with the Comcast, where they just have the business person at you, and then they'll just drop you, and then you never hear from that person again.
Right.
I think a lot of that one-to-one, just seeing how the customer grows into
Yeah.
the business, you make a real relation. You become friends with them, and I really do feel that business should be done that way.
Yeah.
I just feel like the touch and go approach that all these things have right now is just so insincere.
Yeah.
Well, it's that balance, right, with technology, and we like things fast and quick. But when you want to be able to talk to someone, it's nice to have that. So you have that perfect balance.
Yeah.
So talk to us about client acquisition and a little bit of your business model. How do you go about, besides word of mouth and referrals, because that's kind of the go-to.
That's huge for
Right,
me.
yeah. But what are some other? Do you use any other sales tools or devices or CRMs, or how do you promote, get the word out about your business, about Titan Payments?
Because we're a startup business, we've got a lot of things in the works. So
Okay.
right now it is referrals
Okay.
and networking. We're working on trying to do an outbound sales
Okay.
as well as my prospecting. I mean, I go out and everyone I meet, I'm just in the habit of
Right,
talking
right,
to
yeah.
them. You know,
Sure.
I mean, no matter where I go on the weekends, no matter where I eat.
Yeah.
So
Was it
that's
a 3-foot roll? That was it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right.
So, that's kind of the basis of it right now. The newest thing that we're working on is trying to get an outbound center started to make outbound calls.
And finally, talk to us about referral partners.
For referral partners, we do merchant referrals, which is another way that I gain business through the current merchants that I have that love the way that I work and work with them. They know a business next door, they know this person or this person, and they refer. They get $200 for a referral. And then we work via partnerships too, and networking a lot. I develop a lot of relationships there. So it comes down to a point of referring clients back and forth, and then they also get a residual from that.
Speaking of networking, you need to come by the Buckhead Business
I
Breakfast,
do.
right?
I
so,
do.
A little plug for the BBA
Yeah.
every Thursday morning, right out our window at the City
Yeah.
Club. Join us for breakfast, and then once a month they do a after hours, and then in a couple weeks we're going to have the Young Bucks
Okay.
for the millennials. One day when I grow up, I want to be a millennial. That's my. I got Dosa on that one there. So, so how would folks reach out to you and find you online? Yeah.
They would reach out to me via belittle@titanpayments.com, and also via my cell phone, which is 404-935-3455.
That's funny you say belittle, like you're,
Yeah.
but you're not belittling people. Yeah.
The letter B and last name Little.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, clarification.
Yeah.
Okay, so Brandee, thanks for
Yeah,
hearing
can
it.
I say one more thing,
Absolutely,
too?
yeah.
Because we're an up-and-coming business, we are growing, so we're in the process of looking for new salespeople as well.
All right, all right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank
So
you.
if you're listening, reach out to Brandee. You have all her information except for the pen. But we'll get that after the show, yeah,
Okay.
off the air, yeah. All right, so up next we have Dosa Kim, and you're listening again to the Buckhead Business Show, sponsored in part by the Buckhead Business Association. You can check them out at buckheadbusiness.com. .org. So Dosa, before we jump into 3D encryption, which I went to your website yesterday, it's very intriguing. But what's your backstory? What's your life story in 12 and a half seconds?
Jeez, I don't know if it's. I probably need a couple more, like multiply that,
All right.
by like a million maybe.
All right.
But no, I grew up in Atlanta. I was an artist here, so I was represented by a gallery down here, Allen Avery Gallery, and I was
really?
in, did some pieces here. But I left. I moved to LA to work on movies, and it's so funny that movies are now here.
Oh,
so,
right.
Exactly. For 7 years I've been gone, and ultimately. I'm back here and now working on software. So things got a little crazy. So that's me in a nutshell.
All right. And so you have two widgets we're talking about this morning.
Yep.
Right? Let's focus, first of all, on the 3D encryption, which is very intriguing. I watched your video on the site. And share with our listeners what that is all about.
Well, so I used to work in the 3D field in VFX. So basically, when we work on stuff, I worked at Aaron Sims. That's a concept design place. So we worked on like Turtles, a movie. They do Transformers and all this stuff. And you would actually basically make these things in 3D models. What I noticed was that, the whole industry is just 3D files are just being tossed around everywhere.
Right. Yeah.
And they're being tossed. Yeah, they're just anywhere.
With no copyrighted sharing, because that's what I saw in the videos. If you create something and it's out there in the webosphere, anybody can claim it; it's theirs. Right?
Anybody can claim it.
So you encrypt it. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we encrypt it, and we just did a proof of concept, right? Okay. So I have two other partners, Partha Ray and Chloe Cattell. They're my neighbors, and I had found out that one of them was a data encryption specialist. He was my neighbor, and we started talking about it, and we decided, we should give it a shot. Just try it out, right?
Yeah.
Chloe is pushed us to get it out. So we got the first one out. We got the first one out, and we saw the possibilities, basically, because there's, in China, they're manufacturing all this stuff, and 3D printing is turning into a thing.
Right, yeah, big time.
Right. You can just print out anything. So it's like Napster right now.
Yeah.
So we actually had it where we can actually encrypt it and find out where that 3D file is going. The new version that we're about to drop at South by Southwest is you'll be able to track it. You'll be able to know where it goes and have full control over it within the, what's it called? We have some tests going on within certain programs right now.
Almost like a GPS tracker on your artwork, your original design.
Exactly.
Yeah. By the way, I'm 3D printed right now. This is not me. This is actually a 3D image of me.
It's a hologram.
It's a hologram, yeah.
You think we would have got a better model?
Oh, dang. Wow. All right.
Wow. Shots
well,
fired.
that wraps up Joshua's segment of the show. Yeah.
Thanks for having me, Albert.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, yeah. I want to talk a little bit about this, but I'm also really intrigued by the preparty.net. I went to that, and it's a not a virtual image, but it's actually a tour. And one of the facilities you have that was featured on there is the what's the incubator over near, not the Iron Yard, but
Is it Google?
It's a shared space.
Strongbox? Strongbox.
No, it's on your website, like a visual of the. I think
we've done several of them now, so I couldn't recall. Like we've done. So, really quick story about that. Yeah, my sister and I, so I worked in video games, so I was working with video game engines and stuff. And the problem with a lot of the event planning stuff, let me just actually rewind. My parents used to run A&D Linens, and it was like a big linens company here in Atlanta. We sold to Ameripride. And my sister was like, I want to do something still. And I was like, why don't we just try to make this game thing, right?
Right.
And we started developing it, and we scanned it. We got a scanner, started scanning event places to scale, and we put it into the phone. Well, little do we know that there is nothing like that exists. Right. The big one is, I think it's Social Tables, and they use CAD. And guess what? They can't take it to mobile, and the program. I'm not gonna lie. It sucks. It's terrible. We went to IMAX too.
So much for that show sponsor, but yeah, go
right.
ahead.
That's just
no
my
worries,
general feelings. We went to IMAX, and to see the technology that has to deal with the hotels and event planning, it's super behind the times. Especially when you see like an Xbox One or the games that are out now, it's ridiculous. So what we did was we put it and we digitized it, put it to the phone. It plays just like a video game. In fact, we were invited to Shark Tank, but we turned them down because we weren't ready yet.
Look at you.
I know. We were like, oh my gosh. But I was like, oh, humble brag a little bit.
Yeah.
But we actually, we want to actually just make sure that we can actually have a growth model, that we can actually grow it successfully. And so we want to just actually concentrate on Atlanta and then kind of start moving towards Florida and up the coast and then going from there. So that's what we're doing.
So I saw the visual on the site, but what's the end game or the application? Is it a combination of gamification and for venues? Because I see a real estate play for this as well.
Oh, yes.
Right? So it's almost like kind of the video tours, the 360 video tours, but it's very different, right?
Well, the problem with the video tours is that, you have to access it through a website, right? So that's the big problem, that every time you have to go through a portal, you go to the browser, and then you have to type it in, and then you have to find it, and click it, and then it has to load up, and then you have the 360 tour. Ours is the app, so it automatically just takes you there. And the thing about ours is because that's funny that you use the word gamification. We are actually, it is a game. Like, it's not making a game out of it. We are making it into a video game engine so that you can control night, daytime. You can take out the chairs. You can move the furniture around. And then it gives you the layout and it sends it to the place.
So I thought of the place. It was the gathering spot.
Oh, the gathering spot. Yeah. With Ryan and all those guys.
Yeah. So we're looking at maybe hosting an event there as well. But from what I saw, it was almost filmed pre-construction. But you can also do like a virtual representation of the space. So it was kind of like, because when I was actually tour, you can almost like you're in the space. And as I'm moving around on the website, I'm moving around to the bar area, to their special events facility, right?
No, we have it all blocked out. It's crazy because a lot of people who actually play it, they've never been to the spot, and then they see it and they're just like, oh my gosh, I know exactly where everything is. And it plays just like any other video game. And the cool thing is that we spent a long time on the UI, and so that anybody...
UI, talk to us about UI.
The user interface.
Okay, yeah.
So it's something super, super simple because what we find is like all the venues are, an older generation. They're not like the millennials who are just like, they just pick it up and they know magically how everything works. But we definitely made sure that the UI is very, very intuitive and that we can grow with it. So the next platform, like you said... Well,
because I was, as a older millennial, I was actually able to figure it out.
Right.
As a millennial X, I'm like an extra, another level. We're almost out of time here, so could you do this for our studio then?
Yeah, totally. We can totally do that
Serious.
for our studio. In fact, if you want to do an event at the gathering spot, we would love to do one with you.
Well, we're actually doing... We'll talk off here because we're going to announce here on the air as well as to our guests... grab one of these tickets right now because tomorrow night we have an event right here on 3 different floors.
Oh, excellent!
So we need to talk to you about that. But
you got it.
So we're going to move over to. We're going to still interview Joshua, even though we said we weren't.
This guy.
Yeah, this guy. Yeah, this guy. That guy. Yeah. Be careful.
No, I'm not that guy.
Be careful.
This guy I'll take. But
Yeah.
That guy, no.
Be careful.
I'm not that guy.
He's an Army veteran, so be careful. Yeah. Just say yeah. So Dosa, talk to us. How would folks reach you?
You can reach me at Dosa. This is kind of confusing. Dosa at goma.pro. GOMA.pro. It's a VFX studio.
We'll put that on the post on the show notes as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Perfect.
So hang tight here. We may have a minute for some open panel discussion, but let's switch gears and turn our attention now to Joshua Still. He's the president and CEO of Sierra
Halcyon.
Thank you. Perfect. It's all about timing. Yeah.
This guy.
And this guy. That's going to be his new slogan. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So a 6-year Army veteran with 9 years experience in compliance management and quality assurance roles. While going through a divorce, as he mentioned earlier, applied these skills to his legal bills and realized that his lawyer was overcharging. Really? There's a lot. You know of a lawyer that overcharges?
No way.
Who is this dude? Who is that dude?
Who knew?
Right? Who knew?
Who knew?
By about 50%. Decided to take action on that as a veteran. Thank you for your service as well. To take action on that, as many people as possible needed access to this information. And we met speaking at a networking event, right? I think it was the Circle of Firms.
Circle of Firms, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So welcome to the studio. So talk to us, Joshua, what's your backstory?
Well,
we gave a little bit of away right there.
that's a good bit. Now, okay, so say Army veteran, And I'm a big dude, so people think I'm like some kind of like infantry guy. No, I was a medical laboratory technician, so,
So
not a whole lot
we're
of violence there.
So it's actually good. We're safe, but if there is an incident, although we have to, for legal reasons, no one's ever been injured during recording one of our shows. But if that happens today, we got Joshua standing by.
Right. So there's that, and I did that for 6 or 9 years, and basically, and also done construction inspection. So basically, once you know the rules, you like these are the rules, and you learn how to go. Well, this is what I have, and how does it match up? Then it all kind of flows into other areas just as easily, and so legal billing was one of them. And I found out that there are rules, that there's certain things that lawyers aren't supposed to do when they bill you, and there's certain things that you can maybe get taken off of your bill, and most of those don't involve the hourly rates. People think hourly rates are the issue, but that's not really the issue issues that I'm talking about. It'll be quicker first to talk about what I really don't deal with. What I don't deal with is contingency, as in like personal injury situations where we don't get paid unless you get paid.
Right.
I don't deal with contingencies.
Okay.
And I don't deal with flat fees. You agree to the fee up front. There's no reason not to pay him for that. So this is all exclusively itemized hourly bills.
Okay. And
so when it comes to that, it's more billing behaviors than actual prices, if you will. A lot of people don't realize is the billable hour incentivizes certain behaviors that are in the biller's best interest, but not the client's.
Right.
One of those being poor communication. Things like block charges. That's when you have several fees lumped together in one, and then they have this time stamp here that's like, okay, how long did each one take you? I don't know. And that's where they can hide timeline, and judges really don't like to see those.
Right.
And I'd reviewed a bill the other day. It was 90% block charges. Like almost every charge they put in was 5 or 6 different tasks. Some tasks they're not even supposed to bill for in the first place.
Wow. Yeah, and who would know this, right?
No one who doesn't look.
Right. That's true.
Even if you look, it's like looking at your hospital bill or sometimes your phone bills or different services, and you don't know what all these fees are there for, right?
Right. But I mean, you don't even know the rules to start with.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you're looking at this thing, it's like, okay, they did that. I don't know why, but they did it. Should it really have taken that much time? And I don't even know what I'm looking at here. So that's why I do educate as much as I can people who have itemized legal bills or intend to hire a lawyer. The best practice is to make sure that they don't get overcharged.
Did you review your bill for being on the show before you got here? Yeah. Good thing Cardinal Rule, we never charge a guest to come in and tell their story.
Right.
But so where do you come in the transaction? And is it not a retroactive kind of thing? When do people engage? How do they find out that a service even exists like this? So that was about a 7-point question. Yeah, so go.
I can help someone at any part of the process. Personally, I want to help them where it will do the most good, and that is before they even hire a lawyer.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Because you'll save a lot of money just before you even hire the lawyer and pay the retainer, saying, okay, listen, I know this goes on. It better not.
Because you went through the experience as well. So this isn't just book knowledge.
No.
Right.
This is I mean, and I've had some clients, I've looked at their bills and things like that. So yeah, I have experience going through and looking at these things. And it's not just me. This has existed since the early 90s. Every insurance company with claims has a department that does what I do.
Okay.
It's just no one else knows about it. The normal people don't know about it. Small businesses don't know about it. So lawyers have no problem. I've got this article here from the American Bar Association Journal.
Oh, the big dogs, yeah.
The big dog. Yeah, I mean, it's American Bar Association.
Right.
These guys who make lawyers and let them continue to be lawyers. And the title of this article, I'm not going to go into the weeds on it, but is Greed, Ignorance, and Overbilling.
Right.
So they're aware that this is a problem.
Right, yeah.
Wow.
And insurance companies were realizing that the costs were going up way in excess of inflation. And they're like, well, we need to start looking at this.
So So talk to us. Is there an average amount that you typically save? What's the most you've maybe saved someone?
Let's see. The last bill I reviewed would be. I knocked it down about $22,000, and that was conservative.
Oh wow!
Wow.
It's conservative.
Jeez.
How was the overall fee? Like what, from what?
From 49,000.
40. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. That's huge.
Yeah. That's a lot of coffee. Yeah.
That is a lot of coffee.
So what do you recommend someone that is navigating these waters? What's some of their first indications that there's a challenge, there's an issue in place?
The fee agreement.
Okay.
That's the first place to look. If you see them saying, hey, no, you're going to pay us for office conferences, if you really love that lawyer and you just need that person in your life, you tell them to take that off the fee agreement.
Okay. So everything's negotiable, is what you're saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, if there's a fee agreement, they're trying to get it in writing that you agreed to this,
right.
Even though you don't know that they're asking you to agree to something that's not necessarily appropriate. And so
we got a couple more minutes here. Talk to us a little bit about your business model.
My business model is I do a lot of networking and
Okay.
referral stuff like that, of course. There's cold calling. That's always fun. And I also do seminars for people who are going through a divorce to kind of educate them on this process and help them, kind of DIY with the stuff. Because every time I reduce a charge, I do it based on past legal decisions and the American Bar Association's rules for professional conduct.
Okay.
So.
And so we've been talking about divorce. Is this going to be? That's a huge. I want to say industry is a bad word for it, but is that where you want to remain, or are you going to open into other areas, or what's the timeline, or what's
divorce people are the people who are the most exposed and vulnerable to this kind of situation. Yeah. They're the ones who need my help the most.
Okay.
Because small businesses, they might take a hit, but this part of their bottom line, they might have planned for legal expenses and things like that. But I'm more than happy to help small businesses who are going through this. And basically, anytime there's general counsel, he does what I do.
Right. Yeah.
But he'd rather not. Okay. And I'm cheaper than him.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Plus with divorces, like it's such an emotional thing.
No,
so
exactly.
You're making some really terrible decisions.
And you're just not even thinking about it. You don't even know about it, and you're completely ignorant that there's even things lawyers are or not supposed to do when they bill you.
Right.
So
Yeah.
It gets kind of crazy.
It's it was great meeting you at the event. Great having you here in the studio and hear a little bit more in depth about what you do. Let folks know how would they find you.
I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm also.
What are some of those handles?
It's at Sierra Halcyon, and Sierra Halcyon Inc. is on Facebook.
Okay.
It's more my name on LinkedIn, of course, but I'm involved in
How
that.
do you spell that?
That's Josh Still.
Oh, it's SIERRAHALCYON Inc. A little bit about the name. It means mountain still, and that's what my folks used to do.
Now we hear their backstory.
Full circle. Okay, cool.
You need to open with that. Yeah, we need to have you on Food and Beverage Radio. Yeah, and bring some samples with you. Yeah, every divorce needs some of that. Yeah,
Dirt Skippy.
Right. So I think we are officially out of time here. Rich Casanova once again for the Buckhead Business Association. You can check them out at buckheadbusiness.org. And I want to shout out to Michael Moore. He's on the West Coast making things happen out there. I want to thank our producer, Dennis Rice, our videographer, Stephen Tyler. And we'll see you next time on the next edition of the Buckhead Business Show.
Use the social media links here to share today's show and stay tuned for the next episode of the Buckhead Business Show. Brought to you by the Buckhead Business Association.